is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Got a beautiful fall day, Eastern North Carolina, and I did a video on the performance modifications done to the car, so I figured I'd do one on all the aesthetic / visual modifications done to it. I had to reshoot this twice. This is the second time because it was too windy on the first one, but I'm gonna send it on this one. I got a nice little location right over here, but let's get right into it, man. So I want to go ahead and start off with the front. I get a lot of questions about the front of this car, and we'll dive in. First things first, as you'll notice, the Mitsubishi logo has been removed, and it's not something you can typically tell unless you know it's there or you actually look for it, but there are some holes right over here. This is something I did very early when I had the car. The reasons why I did it is I think it looks cleaner overall. I think it looks more aggressive. And then additionally, I'm just not a big fan of Mitsubishi as a brand. Pretty bad company in my opinion. So those are the reasons why I did it. Moving on to this badge right over here. I get a lot of questions about this. Yes, this Evo is an MR. It does have a 5-speed, but it still has all the MR amenities. But that is actually the badge from the rear. So the trunk came with a Lancer Evolution MR badge, and all I did was cut it. You could still see the little nub right over there. I cut it, and then I went ahead and 3M taped it. And this 3M tape has held on for a long time, guys. You could actually see it through the M right over there. But this has been on there for over a decade, and I've had no issues. I've even resprayed this a couple times. Obviously, I taped this off, but overall, it's been holding on pretty well. Moving on to this decal right over here. This I get a lot of people thinking that somebody actually wrote on my hood, but it's a vinyl decal, and it obviously says the spirit of competition. This is Ralliart's motto, or their slogan, and they actually, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure back in the day they used to actually have a hood that was Ralliart. Actual hood that it came on, the logo was actually a little bit higher. And then additionally, it wasn't oriented this way. It was actually like twisted this way, so it wasn't straighter. I think it looks more aggressive this way. So that's why I went ahead and did that. Moving on to the hood vent. This is an actual Ralliart hood vent. I got this from Instagram. There's a guy called Rare Evo Parts, but these are pretty hard to come by nowadays. I got this a couple years ago. If you want one, you probably have to get on a waiting list or something like that. And then moving on to the headlights. These are the JDM 8 MR headlights. I mean, in my opinion, these are the best looking ones, but the biggest distinction is going to be the matte housing on the inside. And then the JDM MR headlights, the 8 and the 9, both have the amber turn signal right over here. On the stock one, this is amber and this is clear. So they kind of flip-flopped it for this one. And I think overall it's the best looking one. And then moving down to the lip. This lip is a replica. It is an S2 design lip, and it is a replica of a deck mechanical lip, which at the time was actually easily attainable back in the day, and nobody seemed to want it. I want to say it was because it was a little bit aggressive, but now that it's no longer available, it seems like everybody wants it. This is actually a wrap. First of all, in order to find an actual deck mechanical lip is going to be near impossible, and then additionally, if I'm gonna spend $1,500, because that's probably what I'll end up paying for one, I just don't think it's worth it, especially with how vulnerable these things are, especially with a low car and all that stuff. So it's only a matter of time before you hit something. This is actually plastic. It's that Duralast plastic. So, and then additionally, I went ahead and got it wrapped in the carbon. All right, guys, moving on to the wheels. These are my all-time favorite wheels, JDM wheels, that is. These are the Volk CE28 SLs, which is the Super Lap, and I matched it with, I guess you could say these are technically, I mean, they have their purpose, but they do have a visual effect. These are the R40 Iconics lug nuts from Project Kicks, and this is a 3-piece lug nuts, and I love these because basically they don't scratch the wheel, and then you can actually split it apart and kind of like add-ons, so I could find like white little caps like this if I wanted to, but I personally think it looks a little ricey if I did that. Moving on to the calipers, obviously they are powder coated white. I don't recommend you doing white. It's a little bit difficult to keep clean. And then I have the oversized decals. I got these from eBay. They're just a little bit bigger than the traditional Brembo ones. And then in the middle, this is actually a titanium axle nut. I got them for all four, obviously. But I got this from a company called Yperium Titanium in Russia. This was before anybody else had them available, and I want to say JDC has them now. This is actually matched perfectly to the wheel. He dipped it in something. I don't know what the solution was, but as you can tell, they obviously match perfectly. I would go with JDC just so you don't have to deal with Russia with everything going on over there and whatnot. Moving on to the side of the car, I got the Rex Speed carbon fiber extensions. These have been on the car for, I want to say 11 years. I think I got them in 2012 if I remember correctly, and they've held on great. Honestly, I have no complaints. These are only held on by bolts, no 3M tape or anything like that, and they held on like champs. Moving on to the rear of the car, obviously I got the same setup as I do in the front, just obviously it's the rear. All right guys, moving on to the rear of the car. I did move the car just to try to help with the wind, so hopefully that's better. But in the rear, I do have the same Rex Speed extensions as I do for the side skirts. And then moving on to the very back of the car, of course we got the JDM rear bumper. This is one of the OG ones that came pre-painted. You'll notice that it came with the gray right over here. This is actually yellow was the color that it came because they didn't have white in stock. But this is one of the OG ones, my second one. Moving on to the taillights. This is genuine Evo 8 MR taillights. You can tell by obviously the matte housing, just like the front headlights. And I do have the side markers as well. So those are there. And then the trunk. So this is a JDC trunk. I'll go ahead and pop it so I can fill you in on some details on it. All right guys, so this is obviously a carbon fiber trunk. It's color matched, but on the inside is what it looks like. Fitment on this is okay. It's not the best, it's not the worst. But one of the tips that I got for you guys, if you were to get this is something that I discovered. Well, I didn't even discover it. The guy who did my the painting on the car. So the rear back half of this car has been repainted. He went ahead and modified one of these grommets, and he said that's what he had to do to make it fit correctly. This is one of the earlier ones. I've had this for a couple years now, actually 3 years, I think. So I don't know how the fitment is on some of the newer ones, but this is what I had to do. I'll go ahead and get you guys a part number in case you're gonna flip-flop like I am, so that way you're able to kind of have a fresh set, because you will need the factory ones. The factory trunk fits like factory does, so if you modify this, it's gonna fit all wonky afterwards. So that's what you need to do. And then inside the trunk, nothing special. Got this mat from eBay, nothing crazy. And then we got the battery relocated back here. Nothing too crazy. I do need to fix that speaker thing over there. But that's pretty much it. I'll go ahead and take you on the inside and I'll show you what's going on the inside of the car. All right guys, nothing too crazy in here. This is a suede wrap. My buddy did this. I made a video on it, a lot of the stuff actually. But I got the kit, so this came with the steering wheel wrap. And then I got the shift boot over there, and then I got the armrest as well. This shift knob is from Rayseng. It's a really nice shift knob. I'm not typically a kind of guy that likes weighted shift knobs, but this one fits really nice and it feels nice. And then it came with the collar. I had to order this separately. Did have to modify this. I do have a video on this, but the collar is nice because it doesn't, it hides this shift boot thing. And then I did redo this. For some reason, this is starting to turn a different color. I think it's a different type of plastic, so it's not aging as well as this. So if you are gonna do this, if you watch my video on this, I would use primer on that. And then I have the Rally Art badge right over here. I got this in Tokyo. And then actually I get a lot of questions about this as well. These are gauges from eBay. This is one of the first things I did to the car, and I did it because I accidentally ordered the white Defi gauges, not these. I had another set of Defi gauges, and they came in white. So the original cluster comes in an orange, and I wanted the orange to match, but then I ordered the white ones, and I didn't mind the white ones, so I went ahead and got this overlay. It's basically an overlay. It's from a company called Truss. They're no longer in business, so you can't find these. So if you see this in anybody's car, it's pretty much an OG type of mod. And as you can tell, it removes the Lancer and has the Evolution on there. So that's pretty much it for inside the car. I do have the factory headliner. I am considering redoing it in a black. And then additionally, I got the eBay mats, nothing crazy. I'll go ahead and pop the hood and show you the cosmetic stuff I have under there. All right, guys, let's try to make this quick. Up top, we got the Mona Lisa. This is an ARC titanium strut tower brace, and it's all cosmetic. It is titanium, however, you're going from the stock one has 3 positions to clamp down versus 2. So I could actually argue it's worse than factory. If I'm ever doing anything crazy with the car, I go ahead and swap to the factory one. Next up, I got these. These are from eBay. These are 3D printed. It's nothing more than just plastic, like a rubberish plastic. And these essentially just cover the top of the struts. And these are kind of nasty looking, the struts are, so they come in handy for that. And then they keep the dirt out as well. Moving on to this. This is an HKS oil cap, very rare. I actually had to get on a waiting list to get one of these. And I like it. It's actually really nice. It's not titanium. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not titanium. Yeah, if you want one, I got it from the same guy that I got this from, Rare Evo Parts. So you'd probably have to get on a waiting list type thing. And then obviously this is powder coated white, just like everything else on the car. JDC, this plate right over here. This is I want to say the color is a glacier gray or something like that. Silver, I don't remember specifically. All I know, it's a pretty good match. And then it's the same color as the housing right over here for the turbo. Not really, I guess you could say it is kind of cosmetic. The color, at least, the color for the Cerakote on the ceramic coating, guys, is a glacier titanium. A lot of people seem to think it's a white, but it's nowhere near white. It's more like a dull gray, if anything. JDC down there, that cover, JDC obviously. This is from STM. I got both reservoirs right over there and right over here. This one still looks pretty good, so I left it. JDC, and a lot of bolts and all kinds of stuff. Titanium, all these, everything's titanium. This strut tower bar's from JDC. Strut tower, this is a hood prop, I mean. Titanium as well. And then moving on to here, STM, of course. And then we have JDC. This is custom, obviously. So you'd have to email them if you want to do something like this. And then the JDC titanium cap right over there. And I think that pretty much sums it up overall. Oh, the ARC cooling plate right up front. One last thing for the outside is this is an S2000 antenna. I got this a long time ago. I think it looks better than the shorty ones. It's not too long, not too short, so it's right in the middle. I think it looks good. But that's pretty much it, guys. Nothing too crazy. I like my car simple and clean. But that's basically it. I do have some stuff that I do plan on doing to the car in the future, so stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.